Hey, leaders, managers, executives, want to know how to keep your workforce strong and productive for the rest of the year? Hey, it's simple. Hire and promote the right managers with proven leadership competencies to run your company. If you want to take a deep dive with me on how to level up your leadership, understand who you should be hiring and promoting, and what it takes to be a leader that people will actually trust and run through walls for, all you have to do is join my Substack as a paid subscriber. It's only $8 a month. You'll get weekly strategies, tools, action plans, and direct support from me via chat and email. Subscribe now for the price of a cup of coffee, $8 a month. You can even expense it out. Link to subscribe in the description. Welcome to the Love in Action Podcast. I'm your host, executive coach, speaker, and author, Marcel Schwantes. I believe that when we show up with our full humanity to work and lead from a place of love, joy, purpose, care, and inclusion, it's going to make a radical difference in your leadership, your business, and your bottom line. This is a show about actionable, practical love, the verb, as a leadership and business strategy. Let's get rolling. Hey guys, welcome back. Hey, let me ask you something, okay? As we move deeper into 2026, I'm recording this in March. Think about all the uncertainty, the constant pressure, the changes that you all face. Here's a question. What's keeping you up at night, especially if you're the senior leader, maybe you sit up in the C-suite or you're the CEO? For most leaders I talk to, it's things like performance, it's execution, it's driving results in an environment that is constantly in motion. Okay, these are all valid things that are keeping you up at night, but I want to challenge you with something that you may not be considering. The biggest risk right now to your performance or your execution really has nothing to do with your strategy. It's your managers. More specifically, over the last 3 to 5 years, I've been tracking data. It's how disengaged they have become and how little support they're getting from the top. Okay, so we've been talking about employee disengagement for decades, right? If you track with Gallup, Gallup's latest numbers are still staggering. They report that nearly 8 out of 10 employees globally are disengaged. I mean, think about it, 80% of the world's workforce. And you know what? That's not a motivation problem. That's a leadership problem. It's always been a leadership problem. And when you trace it back far enough, you land right in the middle of the organization, your middle managers, because they're the ones translating your strategy into daily tasks and behaviors to get the job done. They're the ones, carrying the culture. They're the ones that people experience every single day, whether that's good experience or a bad experience. So if your managers are disengaged, if they feel overwhelmed, if they are underprepared, what do you think is going to happen? Their disengagement is going to spread downward and fast. You don't get an engaged workforce with disengaged managers. It doesn't work that way. And yet here's the contradiction I see in so many organizations, many that I coach. We have this expectation that managers, they must be everything. They have to drive performance, they have to handle conflict, they have to manage people's workload and burnout. We expect them to be our employees' therapist at times. And ultimately, we put the burden on delivering results on their shoulders. And then we underinvest in them. We give them the least amount of training, the least amount of coaching, leadership development, and support to help them become more successful leaders. And then somehow we're surprised when things start to break, when those engagement numbers start to take a nosedive. So let me be direct here with you senior leaders. and executives, I'm chuckling as I say this. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'm chuckling because I've said this a million times before. You cannot neglect your middle managers and expect your business to thrive. It's just not a sustainable model anymore because the role of the manager has fundamentally changed, right? This isn't 1996. Command and control management styles don't work, especially with younger generations entering the workforce. They're not responding to authority. They're not responding to do as I say. They're responding to connection, clarity, and they're responding to their career development, which is one of their big hot buttons. And your managers are stuck in the middle of that generational shift. For most of them, that's a heavy load if they're not being supported to handle the workforce. So the question is for you is how are you equipping your managers? How are you equipping them? That's a really hold the mirror question for you. Because telling them to in your next one-on-one, hey Joe, you have to be a better leader, that's not a strategy. So here's where I think senior leaders have to refocus immediately. Here's a buzz term, coaching. But don't think of it as just another cliche or buzzword, okay? Because you hear that a lot, right? Oh, your managers must be coaches. But here's the thing is if coaching is so important, they're not being developed to become coaches. And that's because they're so busy spinning their plates. So we need to think of coaching as a core leadership capability. When your managers know how to coach, everything changes. Everything. Instead of solving every problem, they start developing people to come up with solutions. Instead of being a taskmaster, they start unlocking people's potential. Instead of carrying the team on their shoulder and putting on a Superman cape, they start empowering their team to take ownership, make decisions, take risks, maybe even fail or fail forward so they can learn from their failures and be better, right? And guess what? That's where performance actually scales. That's your solution right there. That's how you're going to drive your performance. And this isn't just mere opinion by another podcaster. Harvard Business Review has been saying this for years. The role of the manager is shifting from boss to coach. It's now an expectation for the job or the role of a manager. And many of these forward-thinking organizations you see in Fortune magazine's best 100 companies to work for, managers are coaches. An organization that embrace that shift are going to build stronger, more adaptive, higher performing teams, guaranteed. But to build a coaching culture, you build it by investing in your managers consistently. So, yeah, we've come full circle, haven't we? Take care of your managers. They'll take care of the people doing the work, who will then take care of the business. So, if you want better engagement across the board, engagement with your employees, if you want to raise those engagement scores, start with your managers. If you want better organizational performance, start with your managers. Hey, if you want a healthier company culture, definitely start with your managers because they are the multiplier. Okay, so here's the rallying cry that I want to leave you with. Okay. Stop asking your middle managers to carry more and more while giving them less and less. Stop assuming that they're going to figure it all out and start treating them like your most strategic asset because they are. So we are at a crossroads. If you still operate like it's 1996, I don't care how good you think your strategy is, the organizations that win today are the ones with the best equipped managers who are bringing that strategy to life and speaking into the hearts and minds of people every single day. And that starts with you, the senior leader. Hey, that's all I got today. Thanks for joining me. If your company needs a speaker or a leadership coach to help turn your managers into leaders or coaches that people will follow, hey, reach out to me on LinkedIn or just hop on my website, marcelschwantes.com. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Love in Action podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it, subscribe, and leave us a review. Until next time, don't forget, the future of leadership is love in action. Believe it, practice it, and watch your leadership and business flourish.